one of the main things, and I must comment, is that in all the states in Nigeria, you've already mentioned there's peace in Kogi State. The only state that has the largest number and has gone beyond our affirmative action of women inclusion is in Kogi State. And you wonder why there are no problems and no security problems in Kogi State? Because you have women in governance in Kogi State. And His Excellency knew the trick of women inclusion, and he has done that. And we look forward to more women being included in governance. We know that the women would do the right thing when it comes to policies when they're there. And women are calmer in decisions. We already know that women don't just go to war. If anything, we arbitrate. We always arbitrate. And I'm sure Mrs. Rashida does a lot of arbitration from behind the scenes. And so that's why we have this calm in Kogi State. Now, imagine if you extend this to other parts of Nigeria and you have more women being involved. We would have more calm, more policies that are friendly, humanly friendly to everybody, and decision-making of going into war, and budgets that should go towards keeping security and safety will be done properly. So I would stop here before, and give another person a chance to do that. But having more women inclusiveness by 2023, and we'll be rest assured women would be if we do have our next president, who is a young person, a youth, that knows where to place the women in the right places.
All right. All right. Dr. Magodu, I'm sure you are tempted to have His Excellency answer to the questions that we will keep asking him once he gets to the villa. How are you doing it? Excellency, I'm not asking you just yet. We'll keep asking you until even when you're there. Now, very quickly, Prof, I'm going to come to you. But Dr. Moghalu, you are one person that we've seen that also takes the questions of youth, the affairs of youth, very, very personal and very, very serious. As a matter of fact, the testimonies I hear out there are quite very, very encouraging. It is gratifying to see you here today to answer some of these questions. I like to hear from you, your own perspective. Where do you think they are not doing it properly? Why are we where we are today as far as insecurity in Nigeria is concerned? You and I have had conversations as far as this is concerned too. You have perspective. I hope you'll be bold enough to tell us this too now. Very briefly, sir.
Thank you very much, Kali. Let me stand on already established protocol. When you asked me to come and talk on the topic, something bothered me. And I rather share it. And my bother came from the fact that what is actually youth? Is it a function of numerics? Or is it a function of the state of the mind? Because you have stupid idiots who are young. You also have animals who are old. Today, okay, we are celebrating Yahaya Bello today as a youth, as a young man in his 40s, because of the landmark achievement, both in administration and his politics. I'm glad the lady mentioned about the appointment, because I saw when they were swearing in vice chairman, all women. I felt a little excited about it. It's quite encouraging. But you must not also lose sight of the fact that power is not given, power is taken. So we must create another opportunity for us to really determine youth and the context Whether it is in terms of numerics, then we can say between age 1 to age 40 or 45 or age 50 is a youth. Or is it a function of the state of the mind? Because there are people who are 70, who are 80, but are very youth friendly and whose thoughts are very youth backed, so to speak. And you have young men also and women who don't even reason well, who fall out of that category. And there are some who do so well that you keep wondering how old are they. Now, coming to the question of where we got it wrong, it is a universal blame. Because at times I get worried when people take one arm of government and blame for failure. That's why we have restiveness in the country. We have insecurity challenges. Some people pick local government leadership and blame. Some people place state and blame. Some people place federal government and blame. But there is one area we have refused to blame, and that area is the family. And that is where, for me, where the fundamental problem is. We are in a society today where fraudsters are celebrated. We are in a society today where criminals are honored. You can't plant orange and get an apple out of it. If you plant orange, you get orange. If you want cow offspring, you buy cow. If you want goat offspring, you buy goat. But if you buy a goat and expect a cow offspring, you are daydreaming. And that is the challenge here, because we have to go back to the basics. There is this fundamental challenge. We have lost it at home, that the morals have eroded. The things we avoid in the past, nobody does it now. In the past, if you go and buy a car and come home, the first encounter with your dad is, where did you get the money to buy this car? I want to see your bank statement. Who sold you the car? How much is the car? How did you get the money? The same thing appears with your mother. But today, you go and kill, you go and rob, you buy a car, your mother will cook soup, and the will goes out and announces it to her friends that her son has arrived. And the next day, the society will start thinking of the title you deserve to get. How you got to where you are, nobody bothers about it. So we have that fundamental problem which we must address. Then, having said that, we cannot, when you talked about the youth, yes, there are challenges. And somebody the other day was arguing on television. We had the argument, and he said, unemployment. Yes, I say yes to an extent, because we are in a stage where our youths who went to school, graduates though, are unemployable. Because we have laid so much emphasis on certificate education that people now go and procure these certificates whether they deserve it or not, and they can't defend it. What has happened to the basic education? What has happened to the technical colleges? Today, if you want to do this style, they tell you, oh, you have to get somebody from Cotonou or from Ghana. If you want to paint this house, they tell you, oh, the man has to come from Benin Republic. He's very good. You talk of POP, they tell you, oh, let's wait for that man. He is from Cotonou. He's gone home to his village. When he comes back, he will do something good for you. And I have tried to study why. And the answer is simple. Because we have left the basics and transferred emphasis on certificated education. And in an attempt, technical education has been eroded. So once this happens, it is a process. Where we are in insecurity today is a consequence of a process that has been left over time. So we also have to go back to the drawing table, ask questions. Someone like Yahaya Bello, take his state as a case study, find out what is done that others are not doing, then we look at it and see how we can adopt it on a global basis. Then again, issue of youth with regards to insecurity, yes, I agree that we need to do quite a lot in terms of providing employment. There is need to diversify our economy so that emphasis can be laid on other areas, because government cannot provide job. Take it or leave it, government cannot, because the opportunity the government has is limited. What government needs to do is to create the enabling environment for the private sector to grow. And once the private sector grows, employment opportunity will abound.
All right.
Thank you.
All right. A round of applause for him, please. George Mahalu's heart is filled up with so much to say. Well, now, before I come to you, Prof, and of course, my father, Darolo Odua, let me give Chief Femi Fani-Kayode the opportunity, and I would prefer rather that he come to the podium, just like every other one has done so. A word or two, sir. Here.
Thank you very much. Blessed be the name of the Most High God, the God whose I am and the God whom I serve. Blessed be his holy name forever. In him moves everything that is. He is power. He is strength. He is knowledge. He is the creator and the Lord of the universe. And nothing is without him. It is in his name that I stand before you. The name of the Lord Jesus Christ of Nazareth, Son of the living God. And I make these pronouncements by his power and in his name. And I thank him for this day. First of all, let me stand on all existing protocols. And let me just say that I cannot stand here without acknowledging my friend and brother, Governor Yahaya Bello, his beautiful wife, the Deputy Governor. I cannot stand here without mentioning and acknowledging my father, the Ooni of Ife, Kabiyesi. I cannot stand here without acknowledging the presence of my father and my father-in-law, the Ohinoi of Ibiraland, who is a father to me and whose niece is my first wife, Sarah Tuata, and I'm so happy to see him here. I acknowledge the presence of so many people here, the Deputy Senate President, the Deputy Speaker of the House, Senator Grace Bent, CON, my dear sister, the Chief Judge, the Speaker of the House, so many. I'm sorry that I have to go back to this, but I cannot stand here without acknowledging these people. But let me just, and there are so many more. So my apologies to those I have not mentioned. I stand on all existing protocols. But let me just say a very brief word on the topic. And I understand that perhaps later tonight, this evening, we'll be saying a lot more. I stand here today, not just for myself. I bring greetings from 3 governors of the Federal Republic, which they have asked me to, mention to the governor of this state without fail. Governor Bello Matawale of Zamfara State, the governor of Bauchi State as well, and also the governor of Enugu State. They've all asked me to send their very best to you, to congratulate you and to commend you for your efforts, and of course on your birthday, Your Excellency. Now let me get to the point, the issue of insecurity in Nigeria and the role of the youth. Well, it is appropriate that this discussion is taking place in this place, in this forum, in this state, and under the auspices of this great man. I really didn't know him too well until very recently. And having known him, it doesn't surprise me at all that despite the fire that is burning in various parts of our country, the northeast, the northwest, the southwest, the southeast, and in the middle belt, Kogi State has managed to do so well under him and has excelled. He has fought criminality, terrorism, banditry, and every evil that has plagued our nation head on and head first. And it takes a real man to do that. A man of courage, a man of strength, and a man that stands by his word, which sadly most of our politicians do not. But he's different. His base and his strength, and the reason why he's so successful is because he is admired across regional, ethnic, religious, and party lines by people all over the country. They love him, they talk about him, they admire him, and he's courageous and loyal to his own. Some say to a fault, but I say that is a virtue and a blessing, which in many respects I share. Let me just touch on 2 very brief things before this discussion continues, then we can open it up. very brief. How do I know all this about this man? Well, recently, this country was almost set on fire. Now, a lot of people don't like talking about this because they want to play down his achievements, because this really was his achievement. This country almost went up in fire, and he was contacted by Mr. President to put the fire out. And immediately, he set to it. And what did he do? I know because I was part of it. He reached out to people across the country. He reached out to my friend and brother, who, by the way, sent his very, very best as well. Your son, Kabiyesi Sunday Igboho, sent his best to the governor as well. He reached out to him. He reached out to the northern leaders and trade unions that have refused to supply food to the south. He reached out to people in the east, the west, the north, everywhere. He called them all, and he took a personal initiative, and he reached out to me. And I'll never forget the day I went into his sitting room. We had met a few times before, but I could see the passion in his eyes for this country. And he said, look, if we do not get this right, if this embargo is not lifted, if guarantees are not given for the people of the north to come to the south to sell their food in peace without being attacked and killed, if that guarantee is not given, that he has been told there'll be repercussions in the north as well for southerners, and therefore we must resolve this issue. And that issue was resolved. He made a few calls, we made a few calls, involved some of the governors, some of the leaders, and all they kept saying, and I want you to listen to this very carefully because this goes to the kernel of what we're trying to do here. All of them, the northerners, the southwesterners, the easterners, all of them were saying one thing. If Yahaya Bello will give his word that there will be peace and we will not be killed, then we can go back to the drawing board, lift the ban, lift the embargo, work together and be one again. And that is exactly what happened on that day. I'm a living witness to that. I'll touch on one other one very quickly before I sit down. I was sitting with him some time back, and sadly, because this state is crime-free, I mean, you know, you don't have terrorists here. He knows what to do, and he does it effectively. Personally, he does it. He leads them into the war zone. But what I saw that day again amazed me and told me something about his leadership qualities. He was sitting there and he received a message that I believe a local government area chairman from his state and also a commissioner or something like that had been attacked. Sadly, I think somebody had been killed, somebody had been abducted by terrorists outside of Kogi State, because these things don't happen in Kogi, outside. And obviously they had been targeted. And he received this news and he was so cool and calm, strong resolve. And I said, well, this is terrible. And he said to me, don't worry, we shall get them, we shall look for them, we shall hunt them down, every single one of them, and we will get our people back. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 weeks later, every single one of those terrorists was either dead or captured, and all those that had been abducted had been released. That is the measure of a man that the governor of this state is. And that is what we need at the national level in this country. And I hope and pray that Kogi will continue to appreciate him, continue to support him, continue to love him. And I'm telling you, this is a great man with a great future. And the insecurity that we see in our country, which threatens to tear us all apart, we can pretend as much as we like. He knows, and I know, and a few of us know just how bad it is. Every day, morning, day, and night, he's working. He's not just worried about Kogi. He works morning, day, and night. He talks to people from the east, from the south, witness, and that is the measure of the governor that you have in this state. And I pray God that God uses him for Nigeria in the same way that God has used him for Kogi State. May God bless you all. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that's right. Thank you very much, Chief Fani Coyote. Now, very quickly, we're pressed for time. Prof, can you speak to the issue of ethnicization of violence, rhetoric of fury? People are talking tough. He mentioned Sunday Igboho. He talks tough. He didn't mention Asari Dokubo. A whole lot of them talking tough. Where does this place us versus the strategy of dialogue to resolving where we are today? Quickly, please.
Kali, interestingly, I cannot look at that question without quoting Sir Henry Buckle, who said clearly that the society prepares the crime, the criminal commits it. And in growing up, my late father told me something, that this country has successively sown bad grapes. And over the years, what has happened to us as a nation is the fact that we have lost that which should hold us together and hold us effectively. I think that we've gone beyond crying blue mother or threatening each other. I have written and spoken at several fora where I said that at every point, every ethnicity has offended the other in this country. We've offended everybody. The Igbos have offended the Yorubas at some point and vice versa. The Hausas have offended the Igbos and vice versa. So what we must do as a people is to look for those things that unite us. Blow them up. Emphasize them. Yesterday I was telling His Excellency that we're too far gone as a people together. We're intertwined. That these skirmishes, this jangling discord of inanity, of ethnicity, this jangling discord of disagreements and misunderstandings cannot tear us apart. I have cousins who speak better Yoruba than they speak my dialect. I'm from Delta State, and by the way, my profound respect to the most senior representative of my state in government, the Deputy Senate President, my Leonard Senior, Senator Distinguished Oviomo Agege. I recognize your presence, sir. What I'm trying to say is that my cousins speak better Yoruba than they speak my dialect. I have a younger brother who grew up in Funtua, same father, same mother, who speaks proficient Hausa than he speaks Ibuzo. And I have seen the level of intermarriage. I've seen the level of relationship across our country. My best friends, ironically, one of them is here, Shetima Yerima, is from the north. We've done a lot of things together. And the bond that holds us is almost amazingly deeper and stronger than that which happens across within ethnicities. And I've asked a few questions, and I want to say it here and now. It wasn't the Hausa Fulani who created the internecine conflict between the Aguleris and the Umoleris, or the Ife and the Modakekes. It wasn't the Hausa Fulani who created or who sacked civil servants of all the extractions in the southeast from Anambra or Abia State. The truth is, and I watched one of His Excellency's interviews on Channels TV where he said that the young people have been dealt with over the years. And that the tragedy of it all is the violence oftentimes is procured within that same age grade. So it is the young people attacking the young people. And violence is indiscriminate of ethnicity. That's what, I remember, and I'm quoting Prophet Muhammad, peace be unto him, when he said that even in the injunction to jihad, if your jihad will cause the death of another man, do not. If it will cause the death of an insect, do not. Unfortunately, successive leadership have downplayed the primacy of lives. And I think that the challenge on all of us is to begin to talk about the primacy of lives. We must cease as a nation to equate lives with other things or animals. We must understand that life is God in expression. Blood is God in action. Everyone here is God known to me. I do not make vows of faith. My religion is love. And I have consistently said that you do not love God if you cannot see God in your fellow man. And so the time has come for us to rise beyond ethnicity. The time has come for us to rise beyond and above the dichotomies of religion. The time has come for us to bury those things that, permit me use the word, politicians exacerbate. Those things that they feast on. Those things that they feed on. Those things that they throw out in the space. I know that when we begin to punctuate them, puncture them, when we begin to torpedo them and throw them overboard, increasingly, that God who leads the human pilgrimage will water those things that unite us. And in closing this, let me say that the sage Obafemi Awolowo once said that hope is the last milk in the human breast. I think that this is not all bad stories for our country. We're seated today in the confluence state. I remember my traditional or regional elementary social studies told me that this was the first capital of our dear country. And so I want to project, not so much like a prophet, but like one who understands the mystery of a confluence union in the confluence state. I pray and I speak to Nigeria. Let freedom reign. Let understanding, brotherhood, love and understanding reign from this moment. May we continue and consistently tell our people, anywhere you are, that the blood of one man is God in expression, and that the time to stop the killings is now. The time to unite and make the green, white, green great again is now. And the time to surround those tendencies, surround those people who believe that together we can. You know, His Excellency here believes in the brotherhood across space. And he has shown that in Kogi State. That's why I'm here. I believe in him. I believe in his leadership proclivities. I believe in his love for our people. And I believe that together we can take our country out of the dangling discord of ethnicity to the amazing place of promise. And I believe that together, the youth of Nigeria on this side, we can take our country out of the nadir to promise.
Sure. Professor Wakobia, I can feel your passion. Thank you very much for that submission. Now, before we finally wrap this up, even though His Excellency will have the opportunity to cap it up, but let me go to my father, the Aralo Odua. The Aralo.
Thank you, Kali.
I'll come back. I'll come back to you. I'm beginning to forget some of those things you taught me. Remember, we started this together. Now, please, quickly, yours has always been about unity. And you said so to me too at our last public function at the Hotel and Suite in Lagos, Nigeria, that if they want to catch you, show that theme of peace, and unity, and we're going to have the solution. Speak this as far as the hope that we pray for is concerned. Very briefly, sir.
Thank you very much. Talking about peace, that's the bedrock of any development in any gathering, any community, and any economy. And even within the race, it's very critical for peace to reign, for anything to happen. That's the foundation. But let us look at our country as a whole, Nigeria as a country that belongs to all of us. Before we can talk about peace, we know all this uproar, insecurity, and all what have you. Eventually, we will still come back to round table to talk about anything. We don't pray for war. We don't want to experience it. It's not even something that we should experience. It's not very good. So my point is, fundamentally, where are we not getting it right for us to attain that level of peace and peaceful coexistence? Our country, a lot of people don't know that in a year, we produce almost 8 million babies, between 6 and 8 million babies every year in our country. And it is growing astronomically. That means in a month, we will do over 600,000 babies. 600,000, over 600,000 children. Every day. Today is His Excellency's birthday, his 46th birthday celebration. In Nigeria, statistically, we are going to have 25,000 children today. 25,000 children. That's a lot. And look at it, year in, year out. Recently, I was in the midst of our past leaders, 2 of them physically, and the 3 others through Zoom. And we were talking very deeply about the fundamental issues of this country. And the two leaders, I told them, you left government 21 years ago. The children that were born when you were ruling Nigeria, they have grown. They've even started making babies. If you look at the female side of it, even children that were born between the age bracket of 5 and 7 years old, right now, today, they will be in their 30s. What impact have they felt? They haven't felt governance. We are just producing babies every day. Are we going to start to castrate all our male folks in this country? Let's be very factual. It is now so widely obvious. Over the last 6 years of this present administration, it's so unfortunate what has happened. The country has been growing over the last 18, 15 years on the average 4 to 6% vis-a-vis our population. So it is not that very obvious. It's still a keg of gunpowder. But this time around, over the last 6 years, we have been growing less than 5%. Less than 5% an economy, a country growing so marginally. And we are producing 8 million babies. 5%, 6%, 4%, compared to 0.4%. You can look at the wide gap. So some children that are just there, that we are producing, we don't even have any sense of belonging for them. And that's why we are having a lot of banditry, we're having a lot of issues in this country. Let's be very factual. Who is going to perform that magic? Our leaders, our economy is growing. There is no magic anywhere. The only thing we need to do is to do structural change and structural modification. And that leads to the essence of talking of peace. When we're talking of peace, the fundamental ingredients that will aid peace, we don't have it yet in this country. And that's why we're having the uproar. And that's why every day you are hearing of bloodshed, kidnap here and there. Those children, they feel the system hasn't supported them. The system hasn't given them anything. They are very innocent. They are growing. Some will have a child in Ibadan, leave Ibadan, run to Katsina, have another children there, run again to Maiduguri, leave Maiduguri, run to Ebonyi, and be running all over the country. And we will continue to have all these children that we are not catering for. So what's my point? For this thing to be linked to peace, we need to start how to solve that problem now. And how can we solve that problem? Engagement. Very wide engagement. Like the example that was given by Governor Yahaya Bello, engaging and relating to the entire country. The body language of our leaders are very important. Very important. Leaders, you can't keep quiet. There is a problem already on ground. You need your body language to be intact. If your body language is not intact, you are having nonchalant attitude to situations that are overwhelming for you already. If your body language is not speaking to the populace, there will be more problem. So let us start from body language. It's very important. And that's a very key ingredient to peace and peaceful coexistence. Let us continue to talk to our people. Let us continue to engage them. Some people, they just want to see you smile. It's even enough for them to get engaged and for them to get busy and for them to forget their sorrow. On this note, what is critical for us in this country is for us to continue to deliberate on peace and peaceful coexistence. And I believe this kind of platform will continue to encourage such. And I want to really, really thank you once again, GYB, for everything you're doing. We still want you to do more. I have challenged you today. What are you going to pioneer? Continue to think and think for the youth of this country to know that you have that leadership trait in you. God bless every one of us that are here, and God bless Nigeria.
The father of peace, Yarelo Odua, His Imperial Majesty Oni Obatunde Oguwusi. Now, Excellency, I know you've always said Nigeria will not go to war. Nigeria will not disintegrate. Nigeria will come out of this very, very strong. In fact, a lot stronger than we've ever been before. Now, before I give you the opportunity to wrap up even on those words, I like to stand on the existing protocols to stand by the Deputy Senate President, His Excellency Omo Agege, that you're coming up here to give a short remark on behalf of SAB. Just yet, hold briefly, just a remark on behalf of the dignitaries you have led here today. I see them all. I see the Minister of State for Petroleum, the very handsome Tibikwe Silva. I see you, sir. You're welcome. Deputy governors, I hail you. The twin brother to our governor. I see you, Edward Enoja. God bless you. So, Excellency, while he comes forth, can you just wrap up on that quickly? So we're just trying to wrap up time. Yeah, he's coming up. Okay, let me finish.
Your Excellency, the Governor of Kogi State and his amiable wife, His Excellency, the Governor of Kwara State, my brother, the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, distinguished senators and members of the National Assembly here in present, my brothers, the Attorney General of the Federation, Alhaji Abubakar Malami, and the Minister of State, Petroleum, Chief Timipre Silva. Our father, our royal father, the Oni of Ife. Please permit me to stand on the already established protocol. I am here. Ordinarily, I would have said it's my pleasure to stand in for the national chairman and the governor of Yobe State, the national chairman of APC, and the governor of Yobe State, Malam Buni, Alhaji Buni. But I refuse to use that word, my pleasure, because of the circumstances of our visit and attendance at this ceremony. Only last night, there was a serious attack by the Boko Haram insurgents in the local government of our chairman and governor. And obviously, we suffered casualties. Ordinarily, the governor and the chairman of the party would have been here himself to join in celebrating our brother, the governor. But you will understand that there's no way he will be here taking into account what just transpired. So I'm here leading a delegation on his behalf to wish and to convey to you his best wishes as you celebrate this milestone of 46 years old on Earth. I'm here to convey to you, in addition to that, his belief that you've been a pride to the youth of this country. You've been a pride to our party, the APC. We say this because you spent your time, your energy, and your resources to grow the party for us. The party is grateful for all of your efforts in bringing in the youth into the party, bringing in what I call them, I hate to use the word disabled because that's not appropriate, but those with special needs. You've been good at doing that on behalf of the party. So the party is very, very, very proud of you. I've always maintained that yourself and our brother, the chairman of EFCC, Mr. Bauer, you're of the same age bracket. You've done very wonderfully well, and you've represented your generation very, very well. And in you, the chairman of the EFCC, and those within that age bracket, I think the future of this country is very, very bright. Mr. President has always maintained that his generation is about to leave and pass the baton to the next generation. And for us, that generation is ours. We are also close to our exit point. And after us, if you give us a couple of more years, I'm sure those that you lead and those who look up to you will take over the baton of leadership in this country. I have listened to speakers who alluded to the role you played in bringing peace to this state. We all remember what Kogi State was like before you became governor. And since you became governor, like my brother, we will be 25 years to 30 years. These are the people we envisage should be in the federal cabinet. People have argued that yes, because of their relative youth, they're bound to make mistakes. But the argument we've always made is that yes, they will consider about 30% of the Federal Executive Council. So the other 70% will be quote unquote adults, who will be there to correct them when mistakes are made. And in pushing these bills, we took into account what has transpired of late, most especially the NSAS protest. It's our belief that if given the opportunity, most of the youths of our country, those who participated in the NSAS protest at the Lekki toll gate, they will rather want to sit in the Federal Executive Council, sit in the State Executive Council with Governor Yahaya Bello and others, and make decisions, including security. So once again, on behalf of our national chairman, Governor Buni, I extend to you